We've been hearing a great deal tonight about advocacy in a variety of forms, and certainly advocacy is an art. And we celebrate one more artist now, Joseph McInerney. Joe is the Executive Director of the National Coalition for Health Professional Education in Genetics, a mouthful that goes by the acronym NIGPED, which many of us stumble over and simply call Joe's Group. So Joe's Group is a collection of organizations whose mission is to bring advances in genetics into the hands of clinical care providers. They do this through the messy but effective process of community collaboration involving nonprofits and for-profits, pharmaceutical companies, professional associations, advocacy organizations, government agencies, and managed care organizations. Together, they create strategies and educational resources that bring genetics content into the healthcare curriculum. And it is for his advocacy in science education that tonight we celebrate Joe McInerney. He speaks with compassion and focus. He animates the concept of partnership, giving it life and vitality. He ensures a level playing field for all points of view. He manages power relationships with grace and confidence. He mobilizes professional communities and inspires them to give their best to the cause. He holds open the space for disagreement, hearing the justness in the position of others. He is a dedicated peacemaker, warm, humorous, and humble. And he always focuses on what's at stake, disseminating truth. We know that every artist is supported by a team of colleagues and thought partners who are supporters and challengers. And tonight we are delighted to have many members of Joe's team with us to celebrate him. We have some of the staff members from NIGPED, we have board members and advisors, and 2 members of Joe's personal team, his wife Margie and his son Brendan, who traveled from Texas to join us tonight. If you have the opportunity to talk with Joe this evening, whether you talk about advocacy, science education, baseball, microbrews, or the quirky appeal of bow ties, his appreciation of history, his playfulness, his creativity will warm and delight you. Joe, I invite you to come up here and receive this recognition from the Genetic Alliance.
I can't tell you what a special pleasure it is for me to receive this award from the hand of Diane Baker, who's a longtime friend and colleague. I'm deeply honored, and I am especially honored to be in the company of the other awardees. Now, I didn't get the message about brevity. So after Sharon spoke, I was kind of clutching sitting over there. So in between courses, I reworked my PowerPoint presentation on Basic Genetics 101, and I took out the whole section on post-translational modification. So it's down to 30 minutes. Can you do that? Get some more wine. Actually, I want to share a poem to begin. Fortunately for you, it's not one of mine. This poem appeared in the New England Journal of Medicine in May of 1982. The author is a Manhattan physician. His name is John Mann Strachan. The poem is called Jenny. You see, it's that she can't remember songs. And when friends come and play and want to sing, you know songs all children always sing. She can't remember the songs she sang even the day before, songs all children sing. She plays with younger ones, one little girl really, and she is so much quicker than my child. And she screams at her and calls her stupid because she can't remember songs. She can ice skate. There's nothing wrong with her balance. And so she glides and looks sad and bewildered at those who can both skate and sing. And when she is older, and the songs are harder, and she needs songs to sing if she is hurt, or loves, or isn't sure, what will she do, my child who can't remember songs? Well, as I sat at my desk in Boulder, Colorado, and read this poem for the first time 27 years ago, my sadness for Jenny and for Dr. Strachan yielded ultimately to my admiration for Dr. Strachan himself, and to the recognition that his mere presence in Jenny's life was cause for hope and even celebration. And so I set out to write the good doctor a letter. Now, I realize that we're in the age of BlackBerries and iPhones, and for those of you who don't remember letters, or who are too young actually ever to have seen one, I'll point out that a letter is a primitive form of written communication that might employ such quaint instruments as a sheet of paper, a pen, postage stamp, complete words, complete sentences, and get this, even paragraphs. Collections of complete sentences that actually cohere to convey an idea. So here's my letter to Dr. Strachan. And I typed it, I didn't handwrite it. Those of you who know me would realize that if I actually had handwritten the letter to Dr. Strachan, he wouldn't have known whether I was commending him on his lovely poem or asking him for Rangers tickets. So I simply wrote to Dr. Strachan, I was deeply touched by your poem in the New England Journal of Medicine. As such things are not written by people without good and kind hearts, I find much solace in the fact that Jenny at least has you. And I got a very nice letter back from Dr. Strachan, actually. Handwritten, actually. His handwriting is pretty good. Now, if my history is correct, and Sharon has affirmed this twice tonight, actually, this was about 4 years before Joan Weiss and others founded the Alliance of Genetic Support Groups, now Genetic Alliance. And I did not know then that there soon would be an entire army of people with good and kind hearts like Dr. Strachan, all devoted to helping and caring for Jenny and for many others for whom our species' expansive genetic variation has had untoward consequences. My admiration for the work of Genetic Alliance dates to those early days, as does my respect and affection for those who have made the organization the force for good that it has been for so many years, right to the present. Until fairly recently, most of my work with Genetic Alliance has involved interactions with the organization's visionary leadership and its excellent staff. Fine advocates, all to be sure. Recently, the ATCG project brought me into closer contact with the families and healthcare providers who simultaneously are the beneficiaries of Genetic Alliance's good works and the vehicles for their implementation. Each encounter with people such as those arrayed around this room leaves me humble and a bit intimidated by the brain power, accumulated wisdom, dedication, dare I say stubbornness, political savvy, and sheer energy that they bring to their own advocacy on behalf of an individual, family, and entire community, and increasingly on behalf of our ever more anachronistic healthcare system. I guess that's why I never really thought of myself as an advocate, because I can't do what all of you do so well. This award, however, has made me realize that education is at its heart an advocacy endeavor. Sometimes we advocate for a specific behavior change at MIDPEG, for example, better ordering and interpretation of genetic testing. But at a more fundamental level, however, education implies advocacy for the power of reason over fear, ignorance, and ideology, for the pursuit of knowledge for its own sake, and for the cultivation of the habits of mind responsible for the great store of knowledge and wisdom, scientific and otherwise, that we human beings have produced. Equally as important, education should help to establish the humane sensibilities that Dr. Strachan displayed so well in his lovely poem. To the extent that my work has embodied advocacy for any of those ideals and ends, I am personally pleased, and I'm equally pleased and honored by your kind recognition. Thank you.